Hello everyone, welcome to the session on analysis and design of algorithm. So in today's session we are going to learn the mathematical analysis for recursive algorithm. So in the previous session we have learned how to analyze the iterative algorithm, that is non-recursive algorithm. So that is iterative in the sense, so the algorithm whatever you have written, so that will be executed sequentially, that is one after the another statement, right. So for that we have learned that for analyzing the algorithm we had 5 steps, that is, so for the first step is, so basically the analysis of algorithm is going to be calculated based on two things, that is the input of the algorithm, whatever the parameters we are sending, okay, along with that the basic operation whatever we are going to use in that particular algorithm, right. So the steps are like, first step we need to identify what are the parameters that are required for in order to get the output, and then the second step is to identify the basic operation of the algorithm, basic operation. In the third step we are going to check whether the number of times the basic operation executed, is it based on the input size or any other extra factor. If it is based on the extra factor, then we need to go forward for calculating the best case, worst case efficiency and average case efficiency we need to calculate, and that too separately we need to calculate. And then in order to calculate the time efficiency, in the fourth step in the iterative algorithm, while doing the analysis for iterative algorithm, the fourth step is we need to set up a summation equation, right. So and then in the fifth step we need to solve that summation equation and we need to represent in some order of growth. So this is the steps for what? These are all the steps for analyzing the non-recursive algorithm. So in today's session we are going to learn how to analyze the recursive algorithm. So as we know that recursion is nothing but what? Here we are reducing the size of the problem, okay. So we doesn't know, so what will be the reduction factor? It varies depending upon the problem whatever we have, right. So here we are going to reduce the problem size until unless you know the solution for the smallest version of that particular problem. That is nothing but for a given problem we are going to divide the problem into sub problems in such a way that you can easily obtain the solution for the sub problem. Once you get the solution for the sub problem, so we based on that solution we are going to calculate the solution for the original problem. That's why the recursion, so it is based on the smallest problem version solution, and based on that we are keep on calling the same function again and again, okay, until unless we get the solution for the original problem. Okay. In recursion we have two things, that is the base case and the general case. What is that base case is? Usually whatever the termination condition whatever you have written, that will be considered as a base case, or else in turn what we can say is, so the recursion, the base case of the recursion algorithm is nothing but the smallest version, the solution for the smallest version's problem. Okay, so that is the base case. And what about the general case? The general case contains, so whatever the reduction factor we are doing and we are calling the same function again. So that is the part that contains the part called as a general case. So and also we are going to perform the operation, what are the operation we need to perform in that particular case, okay. So based on the problem statement what we are going to perform, that will be in the general case. So in today's session let us discuss what are all the steps for analyzing the recursive algorithm. Along with that we will take the example and we will design the algorithm, that is recursive algorithm, and then we will get the solution for, that is analysis for that recursive algorithm with some examples, okay. So let us see what are all the steps in analyzing the recursive algorithm we have. So here first three steps is very similar to your analyzing the non-recursive algorithm, same as your non-recursive algorithm, that is iterative algorithm. That is, first step is what? So we need to identify the parameter. is, that is nothing but size of the inputs or inputs size we need to identify. Along with this, if you have any other extra factor, we need to look into it. Okay, so if that algorithm have an extra factor, then we need to look into it. If you doesn't have, you can continue with the next step. What is the second step? So the second step is to identify what? We need to identify the basic operation of that particular algorithm. So that is the basic, identify of its algorithm. Okay. The third step is, so already we have discussed, that is the number of times the basic operation executed. Here in the order of growth, while calculating the order of growth of the algorithm, we have discussed, so how the running time of the algorithm can be calculated. How? So based on what? Based on two factors, that is input of the algorithm and the number of times the basic operation executed. So obviously the number of times the basic operation executed is based on what? The input size, right? So here if you write that, so check whether the number of times, so the BO executed, BO is nothing but basic operation. Okay, so basic operation executed, is it based on, only on input size or any extra factor? So if it is based on input size, then it is okay. Otherwise, if it is based on input size as well as on the extra factor, if so, then the algorithm efficiency has to calculated separately for best case, worst case and average case. Okay, so if the algorithm efficiency, the number of times the basic operation executed is based on input as well as on any other extra factor, then we need to calculate what? We need to go for calculation of the time efficiency in terms of best case, worst case and average case. Remember, okay? The fourth step. So in iterative algorithm, what is the fourth step? So that is nothing but we need to set up a summation equation over there. But here in the recursive algorithm, since it is a recursive algorithm, we need to set up a recurrence relation. Okay. So set up, fourth one, set up recurrence relation with proper initial condition. With proper initial condition. Why? Because whenever we are solving this equation, we need a initial value. Since we have a base case, so we can set up a initial condition also. So what is the initial values whatever we have, so that we need to take care of. Okay, so we need to set up a recurrence relation with the appropriate initial conditions. Okay, so once you set up, what is the next step? Definitely we need to solve for what? The equation. So that is the polynomial equation. So that is nothing but your time efficiency function. So the fifth step is solve the recurrence relation using any formulas or standard formulas and represent the order of growth of the algorithm using any asymptotic notations. Any asymptotic notations. So, the fifth step is, once you set up a recurrence relation, we need to solve for it using some of the formulas like backward substitution method and some of the recursive formulas. Using that summation equations, we are going to solve this recurrence relation using that initial conditions. Once you solve this, so we will obtain what? The polynomial equation. Once you obtain that polynomial equation, we need to represent in an order of growth of the algorithm. So, what are all those order of growth of the algorithm? So, that is nothing but the algorithm efficiency may grow linearly or quadratically, like n log n or n square, n cube, 2 to the it may grow exponentially like 2 to the power of n or n factorial, like that, right? So, that algorithm's order of growth should be represented using the asymptotic notations. Okay. So, now, let us take simple example in order to analyze that algorithm. So, first we will design the algorithm, next we will analyze the algorithm. Okay. So, let us calculate, let us write the algorithm to find the factorial of a given number. Factorial of a given number n. Okay. So, usually in the high school itself you would have learned this equation, how to calculate the n factorial. How to calculate n factorial? So, what is the formula for using the n factorial? What is the value for 0 factorial? What is the value for the 1 factorial? You know, right? So, that is nothing but 0 factorial is nothing but 1 and 1 factorial is also equal to 1. And also if that n is greater than 1, then we have a formula like n into n minus 1 factorial, right? So, do you remember that equation? That is how to calculate n factorial? That is nothing but n into n minus 1 factorial if n is greater than 1. So, if n is greater than 1, how to calculate the n factorial? By making using of this equation, that is n into n minus 1 factorial. See here, what is the reduction factor here? So, we have a n, we are multiplying with, so we doesn't know the value for n minus 1 factorial. So, that is the size of the input is reduced by what? 1. So, n minus 1 factorial if n is greater than 1. So, by knowing the one value, that is 1 factorial is equal to what? 1 if n is equal to 1. So, 0 factorial and one more thing, and 0 factorial is equal to 1 if n is equal to 0. So, here we have a two termination condition. Either you go with n is equal to 0, okay, or else if n is equal to 1, okay, anything is okay. Okay. So, you can go with n is equal to 0 itself in the base condition. Okay. And in the general case, what we are writing, in order to calculate the n factorial, we are multiplying n by calling the same function. Why? Because we doesn't know the value of n factorial. In the similar way, we doesn't know the value for n minus 1 factorial. That means that if you are calling a function for finding the factorial of n, then you need to call the same function, that is factorial of n, but here instead of n, it is reduce the size of the input by 1. That is, factorial of n minus 1. So this is your general case. Okay. So let us write the algorithm here. So in order to write the algorithm, so firstly we need to write the keyword algorithm, right? So what is the name of this algorithm? Let me give, we are calculating the factorial. So let me write factorial of the given number n. So for the given number n, where n is any positive integer. Okay. So now the purpose of this algorithm or description, whatever you want, you can write it. Purpose, description, everything you can write it. But here I am writing the purpose to find the factorial of a given number. Okay, factorial of a given number. And then what is the input? What is the input? Input is nothing but n, that is any positive integer. Do you have any other inputs here, input parameters? No, right? So do you have any other extra factor here? No. So we don't have any extra factor here. So to find the factorial of a given number, input is n positive integer. And what is the output? So the output is factorial of a given number. Given number. Then what is the base case? If so n is equal to 0. If the base case is if n is equal to 0, that is 0 factorial value we know, right? So that is the smallest version of the problem. So that we know, so that we can return what? Return 1. Okay. So if n is equal to 0, 0 factorial value is nothing but what? 1. Directly you can return the value. So next is if n is equal to 1, return 1. Okay. If it is, it is not mandatory to write that. If you want, you can write that one also. If you are writing that step, definitely it will reduce the step by 1. One iteration can be reduced here. Okay. Next, what is the general case then? If this is return 1, else what we need to do? We need to go with the formula. What is that formula is? N into factorial of n minus 1. Right? So in order to calculate n factorial, I am calling a function factorial of n. In order to calculate n minus 1 factorial, the same function can be called by reducing the size of the input by 1. Okay. So that is your general case. So that is else return, what we need to return? N into the same thing. Okay. N into, instead of n minus 1 factorial, what I can write is factorial of n minus 1. So this is your general case where your basic operation is present and where you are doing the recursion. Okay. So that is your general case. This is your base case and this is your general case. Okay. So base case will be executed only for one time, but your general case is going to be executed for several times. Based on this general case only, so your basic operation will be present in the general case only. Based on that operation only, we are going to do the analysis. Okay. So let us take simple value for this and let us calculate what is the value for what is the factorial of the given number. Okay. Now, so let me take the example factorial of 4. So let me calculate the value for factorial of 4. How to calculate the factorial of 4? So now I am calling the same function. So instead of writing factorial, I am just writing fact. Okay. So usually whenever we are doing the tracing for recursive algorithm, we are going to represent in a tree structure. Either it might be a linear tree or it might be a binary tree. Okay. But you are going to represent in a tree structure. Okay. So let us see how we are going to represent it doing the tracing. Okay. Now we are calling the same function. Instead of factorial, I have written only fact here. Okay. fact of 4, that means factorial of 4, n is equal to what now? 4. Now it is going to check this condition, 4 is equal to 0. Is it true? False. If it is false, what the action? So else part has to be executed. So if it is true, we are going to return 1. But this is what? This is false. So n is equal to, that is 4 is equal to 0 is false. If it is false, what is the action? We need to perform this general case. What is the general case? N into, in this case what is n? 4. So 4 into, okay, 4 into factorial of n minus 1. So that means that I am calling the same function by reducing the size of the input by 1. So that is, so fact of n minus 1. What is n? 4. 4 minus 1 is 3. Okay, and whenever we are tracing it, do remember these two steps. What is that? Base case, if n is equal to 0, return the value. If not, else part. What is in the else part? We have only one statement, that is n into factorial of n minus 1. Reduce the size of the input by 1. Only one step we are doing. Okay, so now again, fact of, I know the value of n, that is 4. That's okay. But what about fact of 3? Do you know the value of fact of 3? No, we don't know. So we are calling the same function. So again, now what is n? 3. 3 is equal to 0. Again it is false. If it is false, else part, that is general case has to be executed. What is that? 3 into fact of 3 minus 1 is 2. This is 4 minus 1. This is 3 minus 1. The value is 2. Again, do you know the value of factorial of 2? Don't know. So again we need to call the same function. Once it is invoked, it is going to check whether your 2 is equal to 0. False. If it is false, so we are going to call the same function. General case has to be executed, that is 2 into fact of 1. Okay. Now if you have returned n is equal to 1, return 1, then it would have returned the value here. But here I have checked the condition, n is equal to 0. Then only we need to return 1. Otherwise, you need to keep on calling the same function, that is by executing the general case. Okay. Now what happens? So 1 is equal to 0. This is also false. Again general case has to be executed, 1 into fact of 0. Right? So 1 into fact of 0. Now the last statement is going to be executed, factorial of 0. Now it will invoke the same base case n. What is the n value here? N value is 0. So 0 is equal to 0. Is it true? Yes, it is true. If it is true, what I have to do? Action is we need to return 1. So the 1 should be value, the 1 should be returned to fact of 0. So the value of fact of 0 is what? 1. So now you know the value of fact of 0, you know n, that is 1. 1 into 1 is what? 1. So this is going to be returned to home. That has been called from home. That is this function is called from fact of 1. This will be returned to fact of 1, not to the fact of 4. Remember that. Okay. So the previous call. So this acts based on what? Stack. That is last in first out. So like this the operation will be performed. On top of the stack, what we have? 2 into fact of 1. Now do you know the value of fact of 1? Yes, we know. What is that? 1. So whatever the value we have returned, that is 1. So 1 into, now we can perform what? Operation. What is that? Multiplication operation we can perform. That is 2 into 1 is nothing but 2. So this is the value for what? The value for fact of 2. So the fact of 2 is 2, right? The fact of 2 is 2, and now you know the value of fact of 2 and n value is 3. 3 into 2 is what? 6, right? So 6 is the value for what? Fact of 3. So this will be returned to fact of 3. So now I know the value of fact of 3, and then we can perform what? The operation, that is multiplication operation. So 4 into 6 is, sorry, 24, and this is going to be returned to your called function, that is fact of 4. Okay, so now fact of 4 value is 24, right? So what is the final value? It is 24. Okay, now observe here. First, for n is equal to 4, so base condition is false, else part, that is your general case has been executed. But here, in order to execute this, do you know the value of this value, that is fact of 3? Doesn't know. Again, recursion, the same function will be called by reducing the size of the input by what? 1. Remember that the reduction factor is what? 1. Every time, observe here, every time your size of the input is reduced by 1. So the problem is going to be reduced based on what? The reduction factor is 1. Okay, so until unless this function is going to be, recursion has been done until unless you got the base case or the sub problem solution. This is the very most, the sub problem. So that is the smallest problem, sub problem we can say. Okay, so least problem. So that is this sub problem solution is known. So based on this, I am keep on calculating the values for the original problem. Okay, so this is how the recursion works. So now this is about the design of that algorithm. So now let us see how to analyze this recursive algorithm. Remember, these are the steps for analyzing the algorithm. So I am not going to erase this. Instead of that, directly I am going to erase this part. Why? Because already we have done with the tracing. Let us analyze the recursive algorithm. Okay, so for the factorial of a given number. Okay, so in order to write the algorithm, analysis, so let me write the algorithm in a shortest form. If n is equal to 0, return 1, else return what? N into fact of n minus 1. So this is for what? So for the function called as an fact of n. So for this we have written this. Okay, if n is equal to 0, n return n minus 1, else return n into fact of n minus 1. So this is very important for analyzing the algorithm. That's why I have written over there, since I have erased that algorithm. Okay, now what is the first step for analysis? Yes, the first step for the parameters is nothing but your n, the size of the input, right? So your the algorithm have only one parameter, that is n. That's why I have written only n. So n is your size of the input. Okay. Next, what is the basic operation here? So when we done the tracing, so every time what we have performed, so we are doing the recursion as well as we are, once you got the solution, we are coming back and we are doing something. What is that? So we are performing multiplication operation. Where it is present? In the general case. So the basic operation is what? The multiplication. Remember, in recursive algorithm, the basic operation will be present at the general case. Okay. So now the basic operation is multiplication. That is, in the general case, n into fact of n minus 1. So this is your basic operation. Okay. So that is the basic operation. The third step, the number of times the basic operation executed. So the number of times your basic operation executed, do you have any other extra factor here? See, when n is equal to 4, it went up to what? N is equal to 0, right? So have you missed anything here? So for all the input starting with 4 to 0, we have performed what? Your basic operation. So here the number of times the basic operation executed is based on what? Your input size. Okay. So the number of times the BO executed is based on only on size of the input, that is n. Okay. So therefore, what is the fourth step? We need to set up a recurrence relation with a proper initial condition. What is that? So usually in order to set up a recurrence relation or summation equation, why we are setting it? Why? Because we need to calculate the time efficiency. Time efficiency is going to be represented using what? The function T of n. So n is represented using what? Your size of the input. So that is, so time efficiency is going to be calculated based on what? Your input n. Time efficiency function for the given input n is equal to, how you are going to calculate? How many times your basic operation executed. Okay, let us see. When n is equal to 0, return 1. Are you performing any basic operation here? No, right? You are not performing any multiplication operation. Therefore, what is the time efficiency for that? That is nothing but if n is equal to 0, then your basic operation, how many times it is executed? 0 time. Don't get confused with, in the algorithm we have n is equal to 0, we are returning 1. Okay, this is algorithm 1. Okay, the procedure whatever we have written, that is to solve the factorial of a n. In order to analyze, in order to calculate the time efficiency, we are calculating based on what? The number of times this basic operation executed, right? So when n is equal to 0, are you invoking this function? No, right? We are not executing this statement. Therefore, how many times it has been executed? 0 time. That's why T of n is equal to 0 if n is equal to 0. If you have put this condition also, if n is equal to 1, what is this value? N factorial, that is 1 factorial is nothing but 1. You can return 1. By that time what happens? If n is equal to 1, its value will be, how many times the basic operation executed? Since we are returning 1, n value is 1, it is nothing but time efficiency is also 1. No, it's wrong. Okay. So, are you performing the basic operation? No, right? That's why its value will be 0. Don't get confused. So, only the initial condition whatever we are taking is n is equal to 0 only. Okay. So, n is equal to 0 only. So, you are not going to perform what? That is the basic operation. Okay. So, now if n is greater than 1 or 0, okay, since we are taking n is equal to 0 here, we need to take n is greater than 0. If n is greater than 0, what we are doing? We are going to else part. What is in the else part? We are performing product, calculating the product. Along with that, we are calling a function by reducing the size of the input by 1. See, observe here. In order to find factor of n, what is the time efficiency you have written? T of n, right? So, if it is T of n, what is the time efficiency for factor of n minus 1? That is nothing but, T of n minus 1. Simple, right? So, but along with this, what we are performing? One multiplication operation we are performing. So, which takes 1 unit of time. So, here performing multiplication operation which takes 1 unit of time. Therefore, what we can write is 1 plus, what is another one? That is factor of n minus 1. So, do you know the value for this? How many times it has been executed? No, right? So, for that what we can write is, that is t of n minus 1. I guess you understood this. So why I have written t of n minus 1? In order to calculate the time efficiency for factor of n, what I have written? T of n. So in the similar way, in order to calculate the time efficiency for factor of n minus 1, I am using the same time efficiency function by reducing the size of the input by 1, that is t of n minus 1. Okay. So let us take the first equation, that is t of n is equal to what? 1 plus t of n minus 1 for all n greater than 0. Okay. Call this equation as 1. So this is not the solution. Okay. So now we need to solve this equation. Why? Because this is not in the polynomial equation. So it is in the form of what? Again a function. So this right hand part should not have any function, that should be in some polynomial equation, so that we can obtain the order of growth of the algorithm and we can represent our algorithm in some asymptotic notation. So now we need to solve this equation. So how to solve this equation? Using some backward substitution method. What is that backward substitution method? Let us see. Okay. Equation t of n is equal to 1 plus t of n, which is not in the form of polynomial equation. Now we need to obtain the polynomial equation for the equation 1. So let me take the equation 1 and solve for t of n. Okay. Now fifth step, we are solving that equation, t of n minus 1 plus 1. Okay. So now I don't know the value of t of n minus 1, but you know the value of t of n, right? Using that t of n equation, we can calculate the next term. Okay. So that is t of n minus 1 term can be calculated. So let me take the same equation, consider the equation 1 and replace n by n minus 1 in the equation 1. So what we will get? What is the equation 1? T of n is equal to 1 plus t of n minus 1. So now what happens? So replace n by n minus 1. In the place of n, what we need to replace? N minus 1. It will become 1 plus t of n minus 1. So in the equation we have what? Minus 1. So again minus 1. So this method is called as a backtracking method for any homogeneous linear equation. So if your equation is linear, then you can use the backward substitution method for calculating the f of n or t of n or time efficiency function. Okay. Now, so what is the value for t of n minus 1 now? So this is 1 plus t of n minus 1 is minus 2. So now we know the value for t of n minus 1, right? Just substitute this value in t of n minus 1 in the equation 1. By substituting the value of n minus 1 in the equation 1, we get what we get. So your t of n will become t of n minus 2 plus 1 plus 1. Okay. So this can be written as what? So this can be written as t of n minus 2 plus 2. 1 plus 1 is what? 2. Okay. So if you get more than 1 here, then instead of adding, you need to keep the terms as it is. Okay. It may get the series. So for that. But here you have only constant value as 1, so that we are adding to the previous term. Okay. So now the resultant value is t of n minus 2 plus 2. But now do you know the value of t of n minus 2? No, we don't know, right? So now take the same equation, that is the equation 1 only, not this equation or this one. Okay. In order to calculate t of n minus 1 or t of n minus 2 or t of n minus 3, we need to make use of the same equation. That is t of n is equal to 1 plus t of n minus 1 only. Okay. So now we need to calculate what? T of n minus 2 we need to calculate. In order to calculate this t of n minus 2, so just replace n by n minus 2 in the equation what? 1. Okay. Now what happens? Instead of n, we need to replace it with n minus 2. Now what happens? This 1 plus t of n minus 2 minus 1. Now what is the result? T of n minus 3. So this is the value for what? T of n minus 2. T of n minus 2 value is 1 plus t of n minus 3, right? So just replace its value or substitute this value here. So you will get what? T of n minus 3 plus 1 plus 2. Okay, this one plus 1, the old 2. So now what will become? T of n minus 3 plus 3. Okay. Now if you don't know the value of t of n minus 3, keep on substituting the value in the equation 1 and replace the n by n minus whatever the value you need. Okay. But instead of that, what we can check is, if you observe the terms, what is the first term? N minus 1. Okay. What is the second term? N minus 2. What is the third term we got? N minus 3. What will be the next term? N minus 4, right? So in the similar way here, first when n minus 1 it is 1. When n minus 2 it is 2. When n minus 3 it is 3. So what will be the next one? 4, 1. Likewise, if you consider, if you give the value for n 1, 2, 3, etc. n minus 1, n. Up to the last term is what? N. So go up to n. So now what happens? T of what is the last term? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So last but 1 is n minus 1. Last term is n. So go up to nth term. So now what happens? N and plus here also 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, etc. nth value n. So now T of n minus n is 0 plus n. What is the value of T of 0? Here, coming to this one, T of n is equal to 0 if n is equal to 0. So put the value of n is equal to 0 here. T of 0 will become what? 0, right? So now we know the value of T of 0, that is 0 plus n. Then what is your T of n? T of n is equal to n, which belongs to, T of n belongs to, it works for all the inputs. Definitely it is going to represented in big O of n. So for all the given inputs, so your algorithm efficiency is n. N times the basic operation is going to be executed. So you can check with your tracing how many times your multiplication operation have been performed. Definitely it will be equal to your n times. Okay. So that is, if you have given 4 times the multiplication will be taken place. If you have given 3, then 3 times the multiplication operation will be done. So like that. Okay. So use for solving a recurrence relation, we need to use the backward substitution method. And here in the class we will learn n number of recurrence relation, how to solve that recurrence relation. Okay, we will solve 2 more recurrence relations, how to solve that using what formula and all we will learn in the class. Okay, so now I guess you know how to analyze recursive algorithm. What is the first step? Identify the parameter. Second step, basic operation. Third step, the number of times the basic operation executed, is it based on the input size or not? And then the fourth step is, so that is, we need to set up what? Recurrence relation. Remember, if it is a iterative one, we need to set up what? Summation equation. Here we need to set up what? The recurrence relation. Once you set up a recurrence relation, we need to solve it. How to solve it? Using back substitution method or backward substitution method. So for the linear homogeneous equation, once you get the non-homogeneous equation, you will get the equation or any polynomial equation. So the highest polynomial degree of this equation is what? 1, that is n. So your T of n is equal to n. For a given n input, the basic operation is going to perform for how many times? N times. This is how we can calculate the time efficiency for the given algorithm. Okay, thank you. In the next class, we are going to learn some more examples on recursive algorithm, okay, and how to analyze that recursive algorithm. Thank you.